Alright guys, welcome to today's session for Africa OS, your Africa operating system developed using TanStack. Today we're live on Twitch, and the very first thing I wanted us to do today is to share the link for the streams so that we can have quite a few number of people joining us today. So I can go to Twitch and be like, today's day 4, right? Yep. Alright. Day 4. Africa OS live coding progress. So today we are live on YouTube. Also today we are live on Twitch. So I can go to my Twitch stream and then we can share the link as anyway. How should I say? How do you share this stream? Oh, let me just see. Twitch.tv/Fernando. Anyway, I think that works. Yep. Alright. So let me see if it's available. Yeah. Alright. So we can post this, then alright, so so just to make you guys excited, today we're going to use JLM 5.2 as our model for the day. People are really excited about this model, and I'm also really excited. So I was able to connect Cloudflare, AI workers, and that's where I'm getting that model from. If you'd like to see tutorials of how I'm able to connect these few modules within OpenCode, you can maybe comment in the description or comment below the video, and I'll be able to show you that in the next couple of videos. Though from where we last stopped last time, we had told our agent to create a workflow whereby it was supposed to create a work tree. So it was supposed to create, I think there were 7 different work trees for the different modules to be implemented. So let me just show you where we were. I can go to GitHub, then I go to Fernando Dev. Like agency, then Africa OS. So this. So this was our repository. So I just added a couple of things off stream, but I'm going to explain all those things. There were just a few tiny nitty-gritties and just making sure that the docs are right and everything is perfect. So I can go, as for now you can see that we have 10 branches. Literally there was supposed to be 8 because of the different modules that were implemented. Then if we go to the pull requests that were made by the agent, can go to the closed ones. Then we can see the very first one that was, I think, this identity one. So when we come to this and then we check the files that were edited, we can see that all our features were implemented within this module. So we are going to go through those modules, and then we see how to perfectly set them up. Yep. So what I'm going to do is to close this. I'm going to pull the latest changes from main. Then, yeah. So all these changes have come in. Yeah, perfect. So there was something I had added to my agents MD file. Let me show it to you. Yesterday, there is this concept of Yagni principles. Yeah. So whenever I tell your agent to add Yagni principles, let me show you what they are. Let's first go to Excalibur and we see. Yep. So whenever we go to our agents.md and whenever we go to our agents.md file, yeah, and then there is a concept called let me get it here. It's called move OBS to another desktop so that it's much cleaner. So we have this concept here called Yagni. Yeah. So what this does is so whenever you add these Yagni principles to an one-liner solution to your agent, Yagni principle. So all right. So the concept is called "You're Not Gonna Need It." Yeah. So this concept basically has I can say one outstanding principle. Yeah. So first of all, if you're not gonna need it, then don't create it. Yeah. So it's going to tell our agent that when it's looking at our code or when it's generating our code, if it totally doesn't need that feature, it shouldn't create it. And like what this gives the agent is whenever we're iterating within let me say our code base or the classes, or that most of the times agents create like unnecessary kind of code whereby they place in more abstraction, or like let me say place a lot of things in like classes and functions, and instead of just keeping the code like as simple as possible, or even implementing like unnecessary features. Yeah. So this Yagni kind of principle enables us to be able to prevent that. So that enables us to reduce the cost of our prompts, and also overall reduce like build the right features for our agents. Yeah. So we can go back to our development setup. So I think I've been able to pull the latest changes. Let me make sure that they're the same ones we have in main. Can we close this? So we can see that yeah, text info. Alright. So right now we're going to go to our modules and then see what was implemented. So the very first thing that I would like to point out was during this iteration, I was able to set up forms separately, independently as a package. Yeah. So that instead of having forms being recreated or auto-generated again within our tech stack applications. These forms specifically, like this package, is going to implement those main core form features so that we are able to now import them and reuse them within our tech stack applications. So basically, this is the package that was created. That's its package.json file. Then you can see that its main file is the index.ts, then its overtype module. So when we go to the index.ts file, what does it have? So right now we can see that it's importing Zod because we're going to use Zod for our validation overall instead of just using basic types for TypeScript, and Zod is a really good package for doing overall validations. So it's importing field props from the field file. So what does that file have? So we can go inside and look at the code. So basically what this has is a form field. It's a form field component. So whenever we would want to use any form field, this is like a reusable kind of form field that is going to have its children within this place. Then in case you have any errors, this is where they're going to be displayed, also including the props that we can pass into that component. So this index file has, first of all, we are just exporting a basic field error map type. Then we are just setting up a Zod form validator input interface. So what I'm going to do is, now I hadn't run npm install. That's why it's saying that here. It's saying Zod is not, it cannot find the module, but as we're doing that, I can be explaining the other things. So you can see here in the comment it says, this creates a TanStack form compatible validator from Zod schema. So what does this mean? By default, TanStack forms comes with their own validator, for like the forms and everything. But in this use case of ours, we are going to use Zod for everything. So what this does is it independently creates this Zod form validator that is going to use our Zod types, or like the validations that are coming from Zod, so that we are properly able to how should I call it? We are properly able to validate all the info that is coming in using Zod, clearly. Then what is this component? This is a field error component. This one extracts the first readable error from TanStack forms error query. So if we want to just show that if we want to show the error from our TanStack form, so instead of us having to redo something like this all the time, or like errors, this, what we're going to do is to just define that field error, then we pass in the errors that are coming in from the from the form. Then here these are just the issue path functions, just to get the correct path of that validation set. Then let me see what this installed, so you can see it was able to install those. Then let me go to this first, reclose it, then we go to this as now. Alright, I think this is an issue. It's importing React, and yet in our package.json setup we don't have React, so I think I'll have to first sort that. Alright, but then we can be going into the other modules and explain to you better what those are all about. So when we go to our modules, so I also created like the form validation file that is going to show us how to best work with the validations, and that's really key. So we can see right here that how is the validation workflow going to be. So we define a Zod schema under the types of that specific module compartment. Then we use the server function to validate the input. Then we use that same schema to validate that client-side validation, since that setup is being imported from our forms kind of package that we had created. Then we render the fields, or like render those errors to the user. All these validations, they are both client-side and server-side. Yeah. So this is like an example of defining that schema. So we'll just import Sword, then this is how we can create a schema, set up the validation. In case it's a name, we use z.string.min number can be 1, this can be name required, the maximum value is set. Then this is just exporting it as a type. After that, the server function can look like this. We import create server function from TanStack React. Then we also import that newly created schema that we had set up for Zord. Then what we do is, now this is just basic server-side kind of functions in TanStack, whereby we create our server function. It's going to be a post request. Then the validator, we pass in our schema. Yeah, since all the input has to be sanitized using this schema. Then what the handler does is it's now going to get the organization, maybe service, and then it's going to create that organization using the data that has been properly sanitized coming from our Zod setup. So basically that's it. That's the simplest way that the forms can be set up. Then in the React components, I mean, let's explain this. This is just for like defining the forms. That's why we can now use our form that is coming in. Okay, that is coming in from the package that we had set up. Yeah, this is just like that form component. Yeah, so instead of recreating it all the time, we are just importing it from the package that we had set up. Then let me make sure that all these violations are sorted. Fix that. Alright, so validate and submit. Instead of, we shall handle this as we go on within the components. So that's basically it for like the forms and the validations. Then we can now properly go to our modules. Yeah, so you can first go to the identity module, because this is the module that is having everything that is concerning that is concerning identity, that is concerning organization creations, user profiles, the user roles, organization management, everything about profile and user management. So what we can see right now is we are basically here we're exporting all the types that are coming in from our module. Then same thing at the top. Yeah, alright, then when we go to our types, okay, these modules are coming in from our types package. Yeah, that's fine. Right now you don't see anything here, so I can actually delete that. If we go to our types package and then we go to identity, this is literally where all those types are being got from. Yeah, so that's why you see that the very first thing that we do is export them. Yeah, so that we're able to like access them within our setup. Then when we go to our services, let me first go to the hooks. So by default we have 5 hooks, one that is going to manage the rows, the other one for the profile and stuff like that. So we can first go to the one for the rows. How does it work? So right now we have a usual kind of let me see how many people are on stream today. Alright, not bad. Not bad. Not bad. Not bad. Alright. Anyway, let me first explain the server functions. So just exporting the server functions when we go to roles. Alright, so right now we have services. Let's first go to the services. This one just exports them. Then when we go to the role service, this is the one that is actually doing all the manual work. So we can see here, cannot find this module. I think let me first be telling this agent to fix these issues. I don't know if they're good by linting, if they can be triggered, or like if they can be good by ESLint, but just seeing our role service and close others, we can see that we have a create, update, delete list, then assign to user, remove user, get roles. So this is what is handling basically our code. So ESLint was poorly set up. Alright, so help me fix ESLint linting within this application, within this project. Help me fix all the linting errors, and then also help me fix the form package reacts not found bug. Let me first go to that package form field. We were supposed to use TanStack React forms, and then we have this import that is clearly very wrong within our modules. Please fix it. Alright, so we can be going through the other stuff as it's fixing some of those issues. So we have the role creation kind of service. So what does it do? So as per now, we're expecting an input that takes in the type of create role input that is coming in from our types. So I can go to our types, then go to identity roles, then create role. Let me see which one is it. Create role input. Create role input. Alright. So let me just search it here. Create role input. Alright, so I think I hadn't seen it. Alright, so it's actually this that is being validated by name, description, and organization ID. So the role is required, the role name is required, organization ID has to be a UUID string. Though as per now, looks like it's deprecated, but we shall have to tell our agents to then update those deprecations. Alright, then after that input being passed in and validated by Zod, we can now pass the input. What do we mean by pass the input? Basically, we validate the input. Then what we do is now we're going to go and insert to our rows within the database, the Supabase database. Then we get back that role that has been created. then we store it within the data property, and then in case there's an error, also destructure that and get the error. So if there's an error, then we just throw the error message and show it to the user, and then if the data is there, then we return the data if the error is not set. So literally we are having just a similar kind of implementations with the update. Same thing, update role input. So if you come here, you can see update role input uses update role schema, which is this. So it's being validated by name and description. Then same thing, we pass the input. After passing it, we now update the DB, and then we get that value that has just been created. If there's an error, then we show the error. If there's data, then we return the data. Same thing with the delete. So what the delete does is we are passing in an ID of that role that we want it to be deleted. Then here we're returning a promise that has no data type. For now, we await and we delete the role from our role permissions table in Supabase that has role ID equivalent to the ID that has been passed in. And then we also go to the user roles table in Supabase and delete it with a role that has been given in. Then same thing from the main roles database, database table. We delete that ID value. Then for list organizations, we have now list by organization. So the rows being listed by an organization, we pass in the organization ID. It's going to come in as a string. Then we're returning a promise of type roles with permissions. So roles with permissions comes from let me search here. Comes from our types roles with permissions. Role with permissions. Alright. So it's coming from this, So it's going to include all the permissions, like a list of all the permissions that are coming in, and it's extending our role that has the ID, organization ID, name, and description. So this is what we're going to literally return, So it would look let me see if I can go to our docs and then create summary.xcalijo. So I can let me see if I have the Xcalijo extension set up. So I can install that because I want to properly explain how all these things are going to come about, So this would really help it would really help a lot, to make like the basic summaries of the code and the architecture, So we can be seeing what our agent is doing for now. Looks like Cloudflare. Let me see if I can switch the model and use the ones coming from NVIDIA, I was able to also link like the NVIDIA models, and for it right now let's just use schema 2.6 and do the same thing. Let's just stop this, copy this, go back into that session. Okay, this. Let me see what the NVIDIA model is going to do. if it's as fast as we need it. Oh, perfect. Alright. So we can be doing other things, yeah. So we can go back to the Xcali now, draw file, and then it's going to properly load the scene. Yeah, perfect. So what you can do is move everything that is on this view and paste it here. Perfect. So I can delete this and just have all these things properly set up, yeah. Alright, so I can just group them and then just give them a send to the back and just resize this. Alright, so I can have another concept of the permissions that are going to come in for the rows. So on the rows, we are literally going to return a list of permissions then let me destructure this, and each of those permissions is going to be a string of lists, things like let me see, can edit, let me say can delete, or like can update, so something like this, yeah. So I can just write that can't underline, but basically now this can be like a list, and let me see, list of strings. Alright, yep, and I think by that, okay, it might not necessarily be this. Alright, this can be like this. These are the strings in a list. Remove this, then these are the lists that so the values that are going to be passed in. I can just okay, just leave it there, then push this to the back. Alright, so literally this is how the rows are going to be, yeah. Like this is how we're going to receive them on that end in this section. Alright, so we have we're destructuring the data that has to come in as rows. Then for the errors, we're going to define them as row errors. Then we are going to select first of all the rows for that organization that has been passed in, and we're ordering them by name, yeah. So if you have any error, then we throw the error, and then if you have any data that is coming from it, remember we had destructured the rows into the rows kind of variable. Then specifically for those row permissions or assignments, we are destructuring that data as assignments. Then its error is called assign error. Then we are selecting the row ID from the row permissions table, and then we get the data as assignments. So then this is just mapping, and then we return the permissions. Then here we are having assigned to user. We pass in assign role input type that has user ID, a role ID, and organization ID. Then we first validate it. After validating it, we go and insert now that role data within the user roles table. Then removing from the user, it's like a basic delete operation of those roles. In case we have a user ID that matches that, or a role ID that matches that, or organization ID that matches that, all that will be deleted from the Supabase table. Then this is just a select operation from Supabase. Yeah, basically that's like the simplest explanation I can give for the role service. Yeah. So I don't know. I think 2.6 is just going on in this. Let me just use a model that we're used to, because that might save us some time. Because I need to do these things as fast as possible. Then we can first change the model. We go back to our model, deep form. Then we prompt it to fix that. Then we can just first commit these changes. Then I can be explaining the other services, yeah. But literally, that's a basic overall concept of the services. The services are the ones that are actually having the Supabase kind of crude operations, yeah. As you can see here, like the organization service, for it to be created, we are first of all validating the data and then inserting in that past data. I don't know why it's properly destructured it, but we just have passed in the input as create organization. Yep, data. So that get by ID, just a Supabase query to get the organization using the ID that is passed in. Get by flag, similar issue, yeah. So when you go to the permissions, same thing. The listings, Supabase listings, assign rows, inserting, same thing. So basically that's it for our services. They're the ones having all those crude operations that are mostly pointing to the Supabase database. As per now, these are not writing to any Convex database, because Convex is the one specifically for event stuff like that. So that is going to be mostly managed for within our server functions. So as you can see right now in the organization, now this is where our server functions are, and they are properly importing that TanStack create server function, and then they are also importing the main organization service that is going to be used within this server function. And then first of all, we first be validating the data that is coming in, and then now we run that service, like we run the create function that was created within that service. Now that is the one that is going to be within the handler kind of property for that TanStack service. For the methods, we have to properly define the HTTP kind of should I call it HTTP kind of parameter. So we have a get, post. What I know for updating, it's supposed to be put. supposed to be a post, so I don't know why it did a post. Let me first ask ChatGPT what it says, because I really expect that to be a put request, not a post, because most of the times posts are just for sending data and then for updating data. And we're supposed to be using the put HTTP kind of query for making the updates or the put requests for this function. Whoa. So guys, if you've not been seeing my previous videos, this tool that I'm using for voice to text is an open source tool called Handy, and it's a free alternative to something like Whisperflow. And if you're wondering where to find the link for it, let me first paste this here. You can go to my GitHub, then go to one of the devs, then go to a repository called YouTube, and then there is a file called africaostools.md. Yep, so that's where you can find all the list of these open source tools that we're using within this video. Alright, let me just open the repository overall, because looks like the naming was wrong, but it's literally the one, Africa OS tool. Okay, GitHub was opening it as a blob, it's fine. So when you click to the link, then it's going to take you to where that tool is, or it can be downloaded. Yeah, so you can be able to access it, download it, and also use it within your setup. But we can first go back to this and see what it said. So this said for an update operation, using put or sometimes patch is generally more restful than post. The current function, it can be changed to this. Validating it, I don't know if it changed any of these. Price, just put. So your TanStack services might look like this. If it contains only fields being changed, then patch is more semantically correct. But if you're replacing their entire organization resource, then yeah, so that's recommended. So for the post, we can update that to I think patch instead of just post, because what I know is patch can at the same time update the entire object, or it can update just one value for that object. Though we have to, if I see what error is coming in, so it says patch is not assignable to. Let me see what Gemini comes up with, or like Copilot. But you can be seeing what our agent is doing. It's properly installing the setup, fixing the inputs. How did it fix the inputs properly? Yeah. So this is what we were supposed to have. Africa OS Supabase, and so it's placing patches of const. Is it what is supposed to be there? Let me try keeping it and see. Nah. So that's not working. Alright. So what we can do is can first leave it on post. Yeah. Shall fix that issue later on. Though basically that's what these organizations are doing for now. We can delete the things that are not being used properly, following our setup of the Yakni kind of principle. Yeah, so we can go to profiles, have to make sure that everything is being imported properly or being used properly. Same with this. These are the server functions that are literally doing the same thing that we had the other side, importing those TanStack create service functions, and then within the handler, that's where we get our service and then run the function that was on that service. Yeah, something like that. So you can see that TanStack properly types our entire setup, and that's really the fun thing about TanStack, is that it gives you this ability to have everything type safe out of the box. In reference to something like Next.js that sometimes doesn't have this kind of type safe kind of setup. So we can see what this setup is doing. I can tell it and properly commit using our commit style within the agents.md. Then it has fixed the lint, so that's perfect. We can see some of the linting issues that we are going to find and see why. Basically, having looked at that module, I think the other modules are literally doing the same thing. The server functions or like the services are whoa, these services creates warehouse. This code is really not great, and it's not properly formatted, and select doesn't exist on this, so we have to fix that. Supabase like client interface, this is wrong. DB query, this is not what we are supposed to do. This is an abstraction that I was talking about, whereby agents can go into that loop of creating unnecessary things or unnecessary abstractions. Now things like this, get data, get one, instead of actually using the cleaner Supabase setup that gives you these things out of the box, it had just created or made these things over complex. So we have to refactor that module. Then I think that the hooks are okay. These query hooks, I think those are okay. The houses, those are okay. Then or I think we have to also fix those linting bugs. Then for that we can also delete that. We go to first go to billing, we delete this type, this type or directory, since we are importing most of those things from the packages. Same with this. Then same with inventory. Okay, I deleted that. Same with this. Same with scheduling. Then same with workflow. Alright, those have been properly removed. As you can see, we just have 4 warnings. They are not that big errors, but I expected it to be catching some of these errors. I think these errors are being caught by there's an extension called errorlens that I'm using that easily enables me catch some of these bugs. You errorlens. is several times I use it to get such kind of bugs. Alright. Why did it reset that head? Damn. All my changes are gone that I have been updating. Now let me stage this. This thing is down. Let me stage these that I've just deleted because it might want to do stupid things, and it resets the branch back to this commit. Oops, this has to have a scope. Infra. I can be like deleted unnecessary type files from the module and git keep files. Then also we updated the forms and creating summary exclusion. Oh, so we can commit and then right. So after the setup, we're going to tell the agent to properly fix other obstructions that were in the other setup. So I can see my commit was done. Okay, and let me see if there are other setups that where the services are using that kind of weird obstruction setup. So the inventory was using that obstruction, which is wrong. Let's see the scheduling. Yep, it was using that weird kind of obstruction mapping. Yep, these types, and yet they're coming from our types. Supposed to come from our type setup, which is very wrong. Let me see this workflow service. Even the modules are wrongly imported. Alright, and shall be fixing them as we go. I think I'm going to have the that package will come in later, but for the modules, we can have our identity module being the benchmark for the services kind of setup because it was clean and yep. Let me be writing that prompt as this thing is finalizing. Can you help me fix our module services for them to look like our identity services for the modules, since as per now we are having weird obstructions within those services. Like, whoa, go to like the CRM and go to the CRM service. Let's go to the inventory, the one that really had these weird obstructions, which are really not needed. They aren't important, and even those things aren't properly formatted, like my identity module. Make sure that you follow. Let me see what's there. Clean up those modules. Alright, so after doing that, we are going to see how we now finish all the modules since they're properly set up. Then now we can start working on the web application, yeah, and then also see how our convex setup is going to be included within our web main application, yeah. Alright. Let's first go be looking for our dashboard that we are going to use. We can use there are some lists that I have for like the dashboards we can use. There's this dev plugins kind of MD file that has some of the dashboards or like UI kits I normally use. And let me see. Let me see what we had with reui. Look at its components. And then we had selected style Maya, that's okay for our setup. It's perfect anyway. Let me see UI blocks. Alright, I don't want that. Let's see UI layout. If it's any good for this setup, this is rewriting everything. Never know, might just get a very good landing page for our setup, yeah. So let's go to some other blocks. Let's look at the here section. This is okay. Really don't like that blue kind of shimmering effect. This is okay, it's very slow. This is okay, it's really slow. This can be a really good one, yeah. Then this is okay. This is not bad. This is really nice. Let me see if the code is available. Yep, it is. I might use this for our landing page. I don't know how this loads, but let me see. Not bad. So this looks somewhat cleaner. Yeah. Yep. Alright, I think we should use this. So I can go to my agent and then what motor should we use? Let me open code and then we see how we set it up, yeah. That's perfect. Alright, so we want to work on our TanStack landing page. I want you to use this shots in your main page setup. Then I can come and just copy this. This is that. They have a motion drawer. Let me see what that is. If you have any other requests of things that are really nice, you can. Let me see what this is. Let me see the other libraries. Guess they have any other really nice. Let me see a Sanity UI. Let me look at the landing pages they have. All the templates they do have. think the templates are to be paid for now, and we might just want something minimal, so we can use another. So if loading UI, magic shaders, cost UI, Mrs. Keeper UI, and fancy animated components. I think these are just basic components. Might not need those right now. Fancy UI components, we might not need this now. We need like a standard kind of setup, so you can see what this is doing. It's still cleaning up. So we can, these are the components they have. Let me look at their hero sections and see. I can see that their code is kinda, you have to pay for it, alright. So we can just stick to this. Though I really don't know if I should choose. Let me see this. I can just stick to this. Perfect. Alright. Let me see this. This kind of. Just copy this. something like this. Yep, but our content should be in relation to our Africa oil project. But I really want to keep that design. I want this thing design. Now that's hard. It's giving me like modern vibes. This gives me like e-commerce vibes. Which one should we choose? Let me go back up. And I already copied most of the stuff, so that's okay. And as you're working on this, please be committing. We need like 20 commits using our commit style using the so it's going to plan and ensure that is set up. Then this is also working in the background, as this is simultaneously working on the landing page. Then I could usually open up another one to start working on our admin dashboard, but yep, let's first see what those two can do for now. Then we shall move those changes to like another branch. Let's work on another branch. Can you be working on let me just leave it on main. So this is installing 59 over 118 tokens used. You can be seeing what's on X. This is still running. Did I tell it to be committing? Please commit these changes when you're done. You need like 10 commits. So please don't reset the branch while you're committing. Since other files still being edited, only commit the files you have worked on. So leave that there. This was doing that. AI viewers stream.com. Delete that. Okay. Let me try updating the stream if it's much to one on YouTube, and as our agents are properly working on these fixes. So can go to stream settings, then I click on edit. Whoa, alright, just copy this, cancel that, get the title, categories. Let me see if there's just place that category. Done. I think that's okay. Just updated the info. This was properly sent. Then I can just update this using AI, just to be clear. I don't know if it will automatically update that for Twitch Perfect. That's really nice. Alright, so we can be looking at maybe the footer components that they have, and then we see the one we can choose for now, or like other page kind of sections that we can add on top of our landing page. So I can go back to blocks, and then we look for the footer section. This is it. This is okay, but it's generic. Not great. Not bad. Not bad. Choose basic. Minimal. Simple. That is nice. Though, let me see. I would have to choose between this and this. So I think we can go for what should we go for? I think this would match our setup kind of better than this kind of layout. So we can go with this. So I can tell it uses footer setup. That has is a bold footer and go to the timeline animation, copy that. And go to the utils and yeah, and I will go ahead setup also I can go back to hero section. We had e-commerce. This is it. And paste that. So before it writes any code, it automatically knows what to look for, like what to set up with. Let me see the warning it goes. File ignored because no motion configuration was applied. That's okay. My name is to Africa Boys. Let me leave that. Anyway, let me try setting up some kind of illustrations on how I would want our workflow to look like. I don't know if I have that here. This is called this. So this is done, it's just in the commit. Here you can properly access that model for GLM 5.2. So we can open our project folder and go to Africa OS and select that, then manage models and see what models we can use. And the other thing I would like to do is download this record. GitHub. I think you can go to settings and then set up the model settings. It's getting this. So these guys had script. So that you can have different sessions of open code running different things. So I can search for these records. Then it was just updated 50 minutes ago. Perfect. Go to the releases. And this was shipped 3 hours ago. Then we can just go to assets and download 4 models. Since the coding plan was done, but it doesn't work. These guys don't. Alright, so can close this and look at the other components these guys have. And see what we can add onto our site. We look at the frequently asked questions. We don't use this setup. That's not great. No. 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 Alright, this is really not great. Can go back and see if we can see others. Okay, maybe after.
Ouais, je sais pas.
Sorry about a short interruption there. Just sorting out a few issues on this end. So we're still looking at these people's components. Mm, and let me look at what the agents are doing. This is still committing, and same with this. Mm, this record is almost done. Let's look at the upload. Animated. Not bad. This might be okay, and we use it. This is also not bad. Look at this code and see. Load define masterpiece to render that, but the main component is that. We can show either use this or this, but this is way too slow. I don't know if the options to like increase on the speed and but yeah, let me see. Some of the overcuts they have is not bad. Then product cuts. And I'm gonna claim product. We look at the mercenary grid. And let me look at the grid that they have. They might use that. Let's look at the questions. I think we had a broader look at these. Alright. I think we can now just go back to these. Alright, so this is still installing the dependencies, and this is still just the internal commits, and this is still downloading. Damn. So you can be seeing the different components that we're going to use. First of all, I can place it in light mode. Then we go to let me see the tables. I think we had chosen between this and sorry, that was this and this one. So those were the tables that we had chosen. Then then if they have like a sidebar, then not really. There's even our UI dashboard that we could use called the Shatsi and admin dashboard. This is it. Then you can visit this and see how the dashboard looks like. Yeah, and we see if we can use that. How does this look like? Do we want to have this on our sign-in page? Not really. Sign up, sign in. See if we can sign in and see. How does this dashboard look like? Go to the light mode version. Nah, we want to use this one. Let me see. How about this? I think that's it. This is I don't want to use this because I've been using it recently, but yep, it experiences. Though there is a Shatsian admin dashboard. I don't know if it's this. I can close this. Yeah, I think it's this one. So we can just preview the demo, and then we see what it has. So when we go to like the sign-in pages, let's see the onboarding flows. Right, onboarding flows are not that great, but not bad. Empty stats. Some empty stats, that's good. Alright. So you can look at the account, billing, then you can look at the error pages. Let's see, 500. Alright, so we can want to see the both pages. This V2 that I normally use. This is V2 and both pages V1. I think this is not what I had wanted. There is another fancy dashboard. This is not what I wanted because if I look at its dashboard, okay, this is basic, but This is not the dashboard I was looking for. I just chose this. I could see where our agents are, and this still installing the packages. So these things might really take a while, yeah? So I might just end the stream here so that I can be able to properly install these things, and when we have later on installed everything, and we can come back and we continue the afternoon session of this Africa OS setup there. Or if not, then I'll just do a recorded video, then I can upload it later on as we go on to the videos. So thanks a lot for being with me in today's session, and hopefully we are able to be together in the next session, yeah? So I can be installing this. I think it was this. Alright, thank you guys for being with me in today's session, yeah?